Hello friends, this is Dana Arcuri from danaarcuri.com. I am an author, speaker, survivor, and advocate, and today's topic is something that a person has asked me about, a person who has experienced narcissistic abuse with her spouse. And so she wanted to inquire how to manage her anger and emotions and how can she work through this. And after she asked me these questions, I thought this would actually make a really excellent video for educational purposes because so many of my followers have experienced one form or another of toxic relationships, including narcissistic abuse. So today's title is How to Manage Anger After Narcissistic Abuse. Now, we have to understand that, with a narcissistic relationship, so whether it was your mother, your father, your siblings, relatives, your boss, boyfriend, girlfriend, or your spouse, whoever it may have been, narcissistic abuse is like a poison, and it is lethal. It kills and destroys relationships, including family relationships, marital relationships, friendships, and on it goes. So it's quite a destructive relationship that can just rip a life to shreds and leave people brokenhearted. Underneath the heartbreak is anger. And sometimes we're not even aware of it. It could be festering and growing inside of us. But one important key to managing anger, even if it is during or after narcissistic abuse, is to be aware of it, to address it, to awaken to it, to understand that, yes, you have valid reasons to be angry and absolutely crushed over what this person has done to you. There may have been all kind of mental abuse, verbal abuse, and on it goes. And so you are left with this devastation behind you, and you're trying to pick up all the pieces. So if you relate to this, stay tuned because this topic is a hot one and it's super, super informative. And I hope that today it can give you some tools to help you manage your anger and move through the process of healing, especially from any form of toxic or narcissistic relationships. Sometimes people have these bottled up emotions that are like malignant cancer. So it just ravages you and destroys you physically, emotionally, spiritually, in relationships, in your entire life. It rears its ugly head sometimes when you least expect it. You might be driving down the road and boom, something triggers it, like that idiot driver who just crossed in front of you and you almost had an accident. So you had to slam on your brakes, you maybe blast your horn, and you're enraged. And then you're thinking, wait a minute, I don't know this person. Yes, he or she may have been an absolute irresponsible person behind the wheel, but why am I so angry? And then you can understand that it might be misdirected anger, that really you're actually angry at the narcissist or the person who hurt you deeply, and it just kind of was triggered when you were driving and someone cut you off. So we have to be aware of the misdirected anger, and we need to direct it to the right person. Next is that when we are in the midst of narcissistic abuse, and so maybe you have not yet gone no contact, maybe you're still married to the narc or working for the narc, or it could be it's your family and maybe you didn't cut the ties. Maybe you are still involved in this dysfunctional relationship. And if that is the case, understand that, the narcissist is a master of manipulation. They will pull every button, push every hot button. They know exactly how to get you to overreact. They'll provoke you, they'll bait you, they'll manipulate you, they'll gaslight you, they'll retaliate against you, they'll spread rumors and lies about you. And you might be just absolutely horrified at this, which is justified. Anytime someone crosses our boundaries, it does upset us. It can make us very, very mad and distraught and upset and stressed out. This is very common and normal. Next is that in the case of a narcissist or a toxic person who does push your buttons, who might be provoking you, baiting you, manipulating you, and on with this three-ring circus, the big helpful step to taking back your power is to not give them the narcissistic supply that they're after. So they want you screaming, crying, cussing, flipping out, freaking out, and losing it. And they gain such pleasure from this. So we must know that the first thing we can do when a narcissist or someone who's just quite ugly and vicious is, those arrows are just flying in our direction. Know that the number one thing to do is first be still. Take a deep breath. Pause. Don't react. Don't respond. Don't speak, or if you're online, don't write a nasty remark back to them. Instead of fighting, which is actually very, very unproductive, just pause. Give yourself a little time out. Next is we have to understand that when it comes to narcissistic abuse, anger is a normal and natural response to their horrific behaviors, abusive, toxic manners and words and actions. So our anger is righteous anger. It motivates us to take action. So there is actually a positive to righteous anger. It actually lights a fire under us and gets us to make decisions, to make changes, to take care of us, to form better boundaries, to not tolerate the gaslighting and the manipulation and the betrayal and all the nasty, crazy chaos and deception that goes on with these types of unhealthy relationships. And now let's get into some really vital content, because anger's not just about anger. No, anger's about something else. It's about long-term consequences to your body, mind, and soul. So according to Dr. Gabor Mate, who's an author, a doctor, he specializes in trauma, abuse, addictions, and so forth. He says that repressed emotions, especially anger, is directly linked to chronic pain, autoimmune conditions, and cancer. And so when we have this bottled up, suppressed, and repressed anger inside of us, we must understand that it is like malignant cancer, and it sets out to dismantle and destroy our lives. It's not just something emotional, it's also something very, very physical. So let's chat a little bit about this. We don't want our unresolved anger or repressed anger to get stuck in our body. Please know that there is a body and mind connection and that it will show up. So repressed anger will show up as physical pain, chronic pain, fibromyalgia, thyroid problems, cancer, and on and on and on. The list is so very long on all of the conditions that are reaping horrific consequences of having repressed anger that you did not even know that you had. So let's stop and think about this. What is repressed anger? So repressed anger is one of the most destructive emotions because we don't know that it even exists. So when something's repressed, we are not consciously aware of it. It's something that could be underlying within us. Perhaps you were abused as a child. Perhaps your narc parent was neglectful and abusive and was very manipulative and hurtful, and maybe he or she triangulated your relationships for your entire life. Repressed anger will hide itself deep in our subconscious minds. It can disguise itself as depression, chronic pain, fatigue, and countless medical conditions. If you have chronic pain, if you have autoimmune conditions, if you have cancer, depression, anxiety, and so forth, today is the day, my friend, to examine inside yourself the root of your anger, especially if it's repressed, because we need to get it out if we want to heal. Next is that it is imperative to get to the root of anger. So we cannot let it be buried inside of us and to be growing and growing and growing and growing, because at some point it will explode. There's a really wonderful and inspiring quote by Maya Angelou, and it's about anger, and this really sums it up. She nails it right on the head, people. So here it is. Here's her inspiring quote. You should be angry. You must not be bitter. Bitterness is like cancer. It eats upon the host. It doesn't do anything to the object of its displeasure. So use that anger. You write it. You paint it. You dance it. You march it. You vote it. You do everything about it. You talk it. You never stop talking about it. Amen, sister. She really sums it up. So basically, she is saying in a very, very empowering way to, instead of letting it eat you alive, your anger, instead of letting it totally consume you and explode and manifest itself in chronic pain, depression, and anything that's extremely horrifying and negative, such as chronic diseases and disorders, she's saying tap into your creativity. Be creative, express yourself, get out there, get your hands in the dirt and garden, go dancing, sing, paint, write. Use your passion and use it for something positive, and tap into that anger and turn it around for something very empowering and positive that will help other people in their healing journey. Next is, let's move on to my notes. Okay, so our anger needs to come out. Our anger needs to be released. So basically, I'm going to just say it like it is. If you are angry, if you were hurt by a narcissist or someone else who is very toxic and hurtful, go ahead and express yourself. Cuss, cry, blast your music, journal, go for a run, work out, lift weights, go swimming. Get that anger out of you. Physical activities such as, running and jogging and swimming and anything that is like really getting your heart pumping, it really helps, because you are then able to kind of burn up all that excess energy that is like a negative energy. It will really help you to kind of deal with and cope with and manage your anger. So I really believe that physical activity, creativity, and expressing ourselves in a very positive manner, whether it is painting or creating something or baking or cooking or gardening or playing music, I really believe that it really is helpful and extremely therapeutic for us. Next is that when we are exercising, so say we are angry, say something triggered us, and it was something that may have nothing to do with the narcissistic abuse, but we were triggered and now we're mad and now we're just like, oh, I'm so angry, I want to scream. What you could do is find productive ways to release that anger through the physical activities, and that what it will do when you get your heart pumping, people, okay, you're working out, you're sweating, it boosts the feel-good endorphins. Now, this is really, really important. Get on your treadmill, get on your bike, go horseback riding, go jogging, do what you want, go for a walk in nature. Everyone has their own little thing that they like as far as physical activity. Do what works for you, but know that this is positive because it is boosting your feel-good endorphins. Next is set clear boundaries and sacred, safe space for you. Process your anger, recognize it, acknowledge it, admit it, address it. Understand that sometimes we have to sit with it and know that it is righteous anger and it is okay that you don't feel okay, because narcissistic abuse is absolutely traumatizing. But on the same token, you don't want to hinder your recovery. And that is why today I'm sharing this video to help you learn how to manage and cope with and heal and move through your anger. Next, go ahead and punch a pillow. Go ahead and scream and cry and yell. You know, if you're somewhere alone, which I really believe when it comes to this whole thing on like, let's process, let's express our anger, it's best that it's in a very quiet place. You know, a place where you're alone, where nobody else is around you, nobody's observing you. You're not going to upset anyone else. It's just something with you, all alone, in solitude, to find a place and a time and the perfect environment that is conducive to releasing that anger. Now, I know that I heard about businesses that exist, and I don't know the name of it. So if anyone knows the name of it, make a comment so I know about what the actual formal name is. But what it is, it's a business that actually allows you to release your anger and to smash glasses and plates and dishes and start throwing stuff. And literally, like, the whole thing on going into one of these businesses, which is set up like you have your goggles on and maybe you have a mask on, you know, you're protecting yourself so you don't get glass or shattered dishes flying in your face. So it's in a safe manner. It's actually a very productive way, if you're really ticked off, to release that anger in a setting that is really set up for you to enhance your life. And so people go to these places of business and they like let loose. You know, they're smashing the dishes and the glasses and they're whipping around, you know, the plate. I honestly would be open to that. I think that there is some form of satisfaction on letting our anger expressed in a safe environment and to let it out. Let it out, because again, we don't want to stuff it. We don't want to ignore it. We don't want to minimize it, because it is going to ravage and wreak havoc on our bodies, minds, and spirit. Next is, when you are alone, speak out loud whatever you're angry about. So again, you want to be in a safe place where there's nobody else around. You don't want anyone overhearing you or observing you. If you have children, you don't want them to get scared. So you need to schedule a time and a place that would be proper for this to happen. But once you are in this environment where there is this solitude, you could scream to the top of your lungs. Maybe you're in the woods. You know, you could yell, you could scream, and you could literally have like this make-believe conversation with a narcissist. You know, you could basically lament. Lament means that you are speaking out what happened. You know, why did you hurt me? Why did you cheat on me? Why did you mistreat me? Why did you gaslight me? Why did you? And then fill in the blank. I mean, there's so many things they did. You know, why did you triangulate all my relationships? Why did you lie to me my entire life? Why did you spread rumors about me? Why did you have smear campaigns against me? And then you go on and on and on, wherever this place is and this moment in time where it's okay. Yell, scream, cry, do what you need to do. Let it out. Let it out, people, because that is where the healing begins. Next is that after we express our anger and rage, we may actually end up crying. So at one point during our expression, the processing, the acknowledging, the lamenting, the speaking out the truth about narcissistic abuse, at some point we might move past the anger. It's very common and normal to then end up in tears, because sometimes anger is considered depression inside out. underneath the anger, underneath it, if you just kind of peel like an onion, you peel it away, underneath is a broken spirit. The narcissist tried to break you. The narcissist violated you. The narcissist lied to you. The narcissist denied everything. The narcissist called you crazy and spread rumors about you and hurt you so deeply. And so it's okay to let the tears flow. I really believe the tears are part of the healing too. When we're really fully expressing our human emotions, it's extremely advantageous for our overall health. And it's a big part of our recovery journey, especially after recovering from unhealthy, abusive relationships. Next is when you're done with the whole thing on releasing in an activity, a physical activity, the horrible pain that you feel and the anger that you feel, and this righteous anger that you have inside of you, and you're going to release it, and you're going to not be afraid of it anymore. You're going to express it and express it fully, because it is a human emotion, and it is a valid, justified human emotion. So next, when we're done with the physical aspect of it, you got your heart racing, you might be perspiring, you might, just be dripping with sweat. Maybe you went for a jog or a run, or maybe you went to that business and were smashing plates, people. I hope you had fun. But nevertheless, after that, we need a cool down phase. So just like in exercise, you have, the phase where you do the workout and you're sweating and you're perspiring and your heart is pumping and the whole thing with that. Next is you don't just stop and then go about your day. No, instead, now we're going to focus on the cool down moment. So here are some how-to anger management exercises for you. So one thing we could do is after the whole physical activity, we could then take 15 to 30 minutes to practice self-care. Now there's a lot of different ideas, and here are some of them. Take a warm Epsom salt bath. It's great for reducing inflammation and muscular pain. It's tranquil and it's extremely calming. You might even want to get some candles and have them surrounded around your bathtub. It's such a beautiful environment and very soothing. Next, you may consider diffusing essential oils such as basil, bergamot, lavender, or frankincense. Now, for someone who's a female, just in case, just a little side note about basil. So pure basil essential oil is wonderful for the adrenal glands. Oftentimes, women, it's very common, especially in premenopause and postmenopause, that we could have all kind of cortisol imbalances, different things going on with insomnia, weight gain. Just there's so many hormonal side effects with menopause and this stage of life. So our adrenal glands are definitely impacted by it, which also can impact our moods. People could get mood swings. If you're premenopause, you might end up with really horrifying PMS. Oh, good Lord. I'm so glad those days are behind me. But know that basil, when it's rubbed a few drops on your adrenal glands, so your adrenals are behind you, it's on your back. So maybe Google where your adrenals are located, get your basil essential oil and put 2 to 3 drops on both areas of these adrenal glands. It's extremely beneficial, especially for your endocrine system and your emotions and even expressing your anger. Next is that one essential oil that I believe is just awesome for anger management is Vetiver. Vetiver has a very earthy aroma. It smells earthy and some people don't like it. I'm totally fine with it. I love Vetiver. So Vetiver helps with the focus. It helps with releasing the anger, kind of calming you down. It gets you grounded. Remember, it's very earthy. It's a sticky consistency that reminds me of tree sap, but I love Vetiver, and I think it's definitely a tool to use for anger management. Next is that listening to soft, tranquil music such as, ocean waves, waterfalls, the pitter patter of raindrops, or whatever your favorite nature sound is, that is also extremely calming and beneficial if you're working through the anger and you're just trying to bring yourself back down to a very calm, grounded place. Next is that enjoy your favorite foods. Treat yourself to something delicious. Now, organic dark chocolate also will boost your feel-good endorphins. I love pure organic dark chocolate. It is my absolute favorite. And so, you know what? If you're in this whole thing with self-care, I think dark chocolate should be a part of self-care. You deserve it, my friend. Next is journal your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your anger, your frustration, your sadness, and everything that you have gone through. It feels so good to write where it hurts because it's one very beneficial and productive way to get out the anger. This is what it's all about, people. Release the anger. Don't bury it. Don't suppress it. Don't repress it. Don't pretend it's not there. Instead, let it loose in a very, very safe place. Writing by yourself is extremely therapeutic and healing. I love writing and I'm a big believer in it. Next is, let's move on, people. Still working on my notes. We're wrapping it up though. Don't beat yourself up for feeling enraged, hurt, frustrated, and absolutely mad that this person who's the narcissist hurt you, betrayed you. Maybe they cheated on you. Maybe they had affairs if it was your boyfriend, girlfriend, or spouse. Understand again that this is a valid, righteous anger, and you have every right to feel the way you feel. Perhaps you don't allow yourself to release the anger. There are some people, they believe or they were taught, whether it was taught in organized religion, whether it was taught in their dysfunctional family, whether it was taught by our environment and our society, that ladies are not ladylike if they express their anger. And I'm going to tell you people, that is the most toxic, inaccurate belief. It is a limited belief. It is not true, regardless of your gender. Everyone has human emotions, and therefore everyone has the ability to manage their human emotions and express it in a safe place. But if you are that person who you were told, whether it was, through your dysfunctional family, maybe you were told by the narcissist, oh, you're just such an angry person. And yet you have every right to be angry. Or maybe people said, no, you're not allowed to show your feelings. No, it's not true. No, you're wrong. No, that's absolutely false. And they deny the truth that everything you went through with this narcissist person, they deny it. And that in itself could outrage anyone. So if for any reason you are dealing with having a really difficult time to express your anger, to tap into that repressed anger and to find ways to release it and cope with it and to manage it, here's a few things that are really important for me to say to you today. Number one, if you think that you should not feel angry, that's a limited belief. It's false. If you think that women have to be ladylike and they can't have any anger within them and they can't express it and they can't show it, again, that's a limited false belief. Next, if anger to you means that, oh, you must be a bad person, you must be an unworthy person, you must be a hostile person, you must be a bitter person, again, that is a limited false belief. And part of working through and coping and managing anger is to understand that these limited beliefs are hurting you. It is sabotaging your mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health. Next, know that you have every right to express all of your human emotions. When you're happy, be happy. When you're sad, be sad. When you're mad, you're mad. Express your human emotions. and understand that it's okay in a safe place. You know, there has to be the right time for the right purpose to express your anger. So of course, that's a big part of, you know, coping and managing and having this toolkit of ways to do this in a proper setting. So that's really important. Like, don't take it out on your friends. Don't take it out on your spouse. Don't take it out on someone who's innocent, who has nothing to do with this. Next is releasing resentment, bitterness, and negative emotions is essential, and it leads to freedom, healing, recovery, and empowerment. So today, I hope this helped you. I hope you gained insight and wisdom on how to heal repressed emotions, let it move through you, how to process it, and all the wonderful tools that you can use in your recovery from narcissistic abuse. And then please share with me, are you still outraged at what the narcissist or these toxic people did to you? How are you expressing your anger? How are you managing and coping with your emotions? And next, do you have chronic pain? Do you have any medical conditions that you believe are rooted to repressed emotions? And lastly, please, leave your comments, share with me. I'd love to hear more, and you could visit me at DanaArcuri.com. Bye-bye.